Welcome to the lesson on graphing linear equations. We have two equations that we're going to graph, y equals 2x plus 3 and y equals negative 1/2 x plus 1. So in order to graph equations on the graphing calculator, you're going to press the y equals button at the top of the screen, top left, and we're going to plug, let's do one equation at a time. So let's plug in 2x plus 3. So we're ready to type in 2. The x button is directly to the right of the green button. It has an x, a t, a theta, and an n. When we're in function mode, the x is what will appear, plus 3. And now we're ready to graph. So before we graph, let's check out our zoom to make sure that our screen is correct. We want to go to Zoom Standard, which is just a standard 10 by 10 window. So you can scroll down, or you can type in the number 6. Once you scroll down to 6, press Enter, and our equation will graph. Let's go back and type in the second equation, y equals. Say I wanted to type both of them in and see where they cross each other, or I want to see what they look like on the screen together. So I'm just going to scroll down to y2. Notice that y1 still has the equal sign highlighted. If the equal sign is highlighted, that graph will appear on the screen, the graphing screen. If it is unhighlighted, it won't appear. You can leave functions in the y equals buttons without erasing them and not graphing them. You can pick which functions to graph and which ones not to graph without having to retype them. Okay, so we're going to scroll down. We're going to type in the negative 1/2. So let's type in negative. We can use the shortcut button for 1/2. Let's type in the alpha and the y equals, and that's where we can choose the fraction button. So press enter. The n/d stands for numerator denominator, and I'm going to type in a 1, and then I'm going to scroll down, and a 2, and I'm going to scroll to the right to get out from underneath the fraction, and now an x. So the xt theta n plus 1. Notice when I typed this in, the equal sign highlighted itself. Once you start typing behind a y equals button, that will automatically darken so that it will graph. So this time, instead of going to zoom, all I'm going to do is press graph, because once you press zoom standard one time, the calculator will hold that zoom until you change it. So I'm going to press graph. Our previous graph is still there, and now our new graph, the y equals negative 1/2 x plus 1, is also there. I'm going to go back to the y equals button. I'm going to show you how to turn off one of the graphs. I'm going to scroll backwards to the equal sign. See how it is blinking? To turn off that graph, you highlight the equal sign, press enter, and that will turn off that graph. And now the only thing, when I press graph, press the button graph, I'm only going to see the y equals negative 1/2 x plus 1. That concludes our lesson on graphing linear equations.